Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Mama Bear. Thanks for being here with us. This will be another just little mini episode like last week because, as you can see, we're still virtual. Bree is still in Florida, and I am still in the cold. So
I'm here to stay with wisdom and warmth. Let's light the way. Together we'll laugh, together we'll share. In this cozy space, it's love and care.
that's where we are.
What is this now? Episode 4?
Yeah, I guess like
official
for
4th episode.
yeah,
Yes.
we called last episode 3.5 because it was just a little mini catch up. So yeah, I guess this is our official fourth episode.
Yeah.
And we're excited to be here. We're
Yeah. So I'm still in Florida, and Erin's there holding down the cold fort again. But how you doing? How you managing?
Well, they're calling it this week the polar vortex.
Oh, I saw once
So,
in a generation storm.
yeah, so that's where we are here.
Okay.
But I am reframing my mindset and telling myself I am grateful that I have a warm home where the heat works. And today I did not have to go out because I didn't have to work today. So
Well,
I get to stay inside in the warmth, which is
What
great.
is the temperature there?
Oh, really cold. I believe it was like -23, feels like -33 today.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
unreal.
So the kids aren't even going outside for recess or anything because it's so cold they can't. I think that our school, the cutoff is -18, and then they keep them inside.
And do you have snow?
Oh yeah, we have snow.
Like it's actively snowing, or?
It's not snowing currently at this moment, but it's been off and on for a few days now. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah,
That's
but
brutal.
it's fine.
So we are in Florida, obviously, and we have been, everyone's always asking, oh, are you enjoying the warm? And like I said in the last episode, like, no, it's not been warm, but we're not wearing winter coats. We're not shoveling snow. So in that sense, we're grateful to be down here. Today is like a constant like rain all day because we're obviously getting some effect from the storm. But what's funny, or maybe not funny, is my dad and stepmom came to visit us last week, and they were moving on from Florida to New Orleans. And so while they were here in Florida, they had terrible weather, or like just vacation-y weather, and then went on to New Orleans. And as they were leaving, I get like a notification to my phone saying New Orleans to experience a once in a generation, once in a lifetime storm. And like New Orleans,
No.
they can't handle the snow as much, I don't think, because they're not like used to it.
Right.
So my dad and stepmom sent me a photo from their like Airbnb today, and it's just like snow everywhere. The house isn't even equipped for snow, so they're like stuffing under the doorway the towels because snow is getting in the house. It's just
That
terrible.
is so unfortunate. Oh my goodness. It is always upsetting. I have a few friends at work that are going away to Mexico and such. Like it is that time where people are traveling and they're just constantly like obsessively checking the weather. And I'm like, don't do that. You're gonna cause yourself so much stress and there's nothing you can do about it.
And at the end of the day, it's going to be better than where you just were. Like leaving Canada in the winter, typically 99% chance your weather's going to be better. So although we're dealing with some rain today, it's like 16 degrees here. So
and I do generally find when it rains in like the south, like Cuba, wherever you're going,
it's not
it doesn't last all day. No, it's like little spurts and then it's hot again. So
right,
that's what I always hold on to when I'm going away.
yes, it's better than what you're leaving behind. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but how are you doing other than the weather?
We're doing really good over here. Like I said, I haven't had to go outside today, so that's been good. My mother-in-law took my daughter to school for me, so didn't even have to do drop off. I will be doing pickup. And we had a really busy weekend. My husband was in a hockey tournament, so
like he played.
Yeah, he played hockey his whole life. And just recently stopped playing beer leagues and stuff, but some of his old teammates asked him to play a tournament right here in our hometown. So he did that, and I lugged the kids back and forth from the arena, and that was fun and very exhausting.
Yeah, a little bit of a change of pace from taking like Emerson to hockey, though. That's been the focus lately, is her hockey, right? So
yeah, no, it was actually fun to watch because it brought me back to when I used to watch it. When it was just him and I was watching play hockey, which was fun.
Yeah, that's cute.
I didn't get to watch quite as much because I have two children that are like just absolutely rambunctious. So
yeah, oh, that's fun.
Yeah. How's it going on vacation over there?
Yeah, good, great. We have not been half as productive. So half the thought coming down here was like we would like to be snowbirds one day. So we're like, let's go live and a practice
Mhm.
month in Florida and see how it goes, see what we would do differently next year. Obviously, we did it with a 4 month old, so it's a little bit different. But our whole thing was we wanted to live here, not vacation here. So we didn't want to do the touristy things. We were more like, what are our workout goals? I'm very goal oriented. What's my workout goals? What are our goals for, work and business life? And let's stick to that. And that has not gone very well. So
Well,
we
it's hard because as you like, if you were to do this every year, it
yeah,
became a thing where you were there for 6 months, then yes, you would follow those. But
four
even though
weeks.
you're in the mindset if you don't want it to be a vacation, it is
Yeah,
a
it's a
vacation.
vacation.
Right
And it's
now, that's still what it is.
I think the difference too is like each week we had a different group come visit us. And while I'm not at all complaining, I've loved that so much that we've gotten to spend time with the grandparents and some friends. The first week was like a business thing. We had Aaron's crew down here and they did some filming. The second week, which just passed, like I said, my dad and stepmom were here, so the grandparents were down. And of course, they want to see and do things, which is awesome. So we got to see and do a lot of things. And then when we're not, we're hanging out, we're chatting, right?
Mhm.
So there's not as much work getting done. And now this week, my mom and stepdad are here. And then
Oh,
next
are
week,
they there already?
yeah, they're here
Oh,
now. Literally the same day. So like my dad left and my mom arrived a couple
okay.
days next week. So the end of this week we have one day. So my mom leaves, I think this Sunday, and Aaron's parents arrive the Monday. So there's
Wild.
like a 12-hour gap or something, which is great. But no, we are loving all this time with the grandparents, but what I'm getting at is that we're not as productive as we had hoped. So, like I said, we want to run like a half Ironman this summer, or a triathlon, half Ironman. So swimming, biking, running, and we've never done quite those distances before. So we live real close to a lap pool, and we were like, okay, we're gonna swim every day. We're gonna go for jogs. We're gonna bike. We're gonna do all these things, and that has not been the case. So we've not gone swimming once, like in the
You know
lap.
what? I think this is a great headway into what we wanted to talk about this week
It
and
is such.
trying
That
to.
was not purposeful, but
It
it
was
is.
not, but you know what? We wanted to talk about trying to keep your identity once becoming a parent, or trying to find that identity again, or finding a new identity, just trying to find who you are after
Mhm.
becoming a parent. And I know that not everybody struggles with this. Some people have a great balance and they do fine, and this is not an issue for them. It has been an issue for me, and I know many, many other parents that it's been an issue for, trying to keep who you are on top of who you are now, if that
Yeah,
makes any
I
sense.
think that's a good way to phrase it because although you're always going to be the same person, it changes. And for me, like priorities have changed and shifted. So although like we'll always be the same person, a lot of people say having a child like changes you to like a biological level. I think you're always the same person, just your priorities have to shift and change. So it's choosing. I think we talked about this previously too. It's choosing what's important. So if it's important to you to continue leading that social life the way it is, or if it's important to you to be the best mom in the world, like there's somewhere in between those two extremes as well. And it's figuring out, like you said, how to maintain a sense of self and stay sane amongst all the
Yeah, like
changes.
finding that balance is so difficult, especially when, I mean, something that I prioritize is going to bed at a decent hour, because
Mm,
I get up very early and I don't want to be a miserable human being for my children.
right.
So, I can't always, like this weekend is a great example. We had people over, because we live very close to the arena they were living at, so, or that they're playing at, sorry. So our house kind of was like the gathering point, which
Hmm.
is great. And I love being that. I've always said when my kids get older, I want to be the house that
Yeah.
all of their friends come to, and everyone has the sleepovers here, whatever. I want to be that house. So I guess this is great practice for that. um, and I love it. But they were staying up very late and I kind of had to excuse myself, and I got a little, I get a little bit of FOMO
Yeah.
almost, because I'm
Well,
like,
yeah.
I want to stay up with them, but also I know in the morning, like, I have to get up with my children and
Right.
I don't want to be so lethargic all day. Like,
Yeah.
I
And not be
really
able
dislike the
to.
feeling of being lethargic. I mean, not that anybody likes it, but it really deters me from doing things
Mhm.
a lot of the time.
No, for sure. I totally get that. And like I'm a walking example pre-kids of FOMO. I hate to miss out of anything. I love to be involved in it all. So yeah, no, I guess why don't we break it into sections? So I think we can talk about like sense of self with like our partners, their social life, and like our own goals. Maybe that'd be an easy way
That's
to talk
great. Great idea.
um so so we are a good recent example because we're 4 months in, but did you find any changes like with you and your partner or
Oh
with
my
her?
gosh, I think that's one of the biggest changes
Oh yeah.
is like initially it was, it's just you and your partner and all of your love and attention go into your relationship, right? Like anything like any act of service that I was providing, which is one of my love languages, so that's what I do to show my love,
Yeah.
was going all towards him. And now a lot of that goes towards my children.
Mhm.
And I will not say that our marriage has struggled at all, because I mean, it's been totally fine, but it's definitely altered
Right.
a lot. And we really don't get that alone time that we probably should.
Yeah.
Um,
And now is that
and
a choice or
I mean, we definitely could. We have a village of people that support us. So there are a gajillion grandparents that would be more than willing to watch our children for us so that we could have some alone time, whether that's at our house or go out or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, I think my anxiety like plays into it a little bit because I like to be with my kids.
Yeah.
I don't like
Yeah.
giving them up or giving them up is a little bit of a
It's-
dramatic word, but like I don't like having other people take them. I like to be with them.
Yeah.
And that does, have an impact on our relationship because I should be able to, for my own mental sanity, take some time away.
Right, right. But like so I struggle with that too. We're not quite ready to leave anyway yet. Like we're maybe getting to the point now where we're starting to get ready to have some time alone. But up until now I've never wanted to. So I totally understand. Even like I it's kind of I'm conflicted because although I would like time away, I would like to be with Everest, but maybe not responsible for Everest. Like I'd like Everest to be with us. But
Mhm.
then if something, if he needs to be put
Yeah.
down for a nap, then someone else, you know what I mean? I don't know
Yes,
if that makes sense.
absolutely.
Like I want him with me. I want to stay with him, but I also just need a break. Or I'd like to spend time with my
Right.
husband. So like if we could hang out, but then him Everest just get put down for a nap or
Yes,
on his
no,
own.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like that's very common, and that's like kind of what we all want. We want our kids around, but we want
Mhm. The
to just take a
responsibility
break from
lifted.
being responsible
Right.
for them,
Or
right?
like sometimes when if you do I do get a break and Aaron, my husband, takes him, it's like I still want to be with them. So sometimes it's like, oh, take a break. I'll take the baby. It's like, well, I want to be with you guys, but I want you to
I have that
like,
exact same
yeah.
problem. I was talking to a friend recently, and she was saying that her and her husband will switch off on who gets to sleep in on the weekends.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, I can't do that because my
Yeah.
husband, I mean, typically I am the one to get up with my kids solely because I'm
Want
a
to.
morning person, like, I wanna get up with them, but also my kids will call for me.
Yeah.
Like, Nora will be in her crib, "Mommy, mommy, mommy." Daddy will go in and she'll go, "No, mommy." Like,
Oh.
it's a no-go.
Okay.
Um, but even on the rare occasion that he's been able to get her up, and he'll take them out to the front living room, close the door so that I have the other side of the house and it's quiet and I can sleep. I'll maybe lay in bed for another 20 minutes and I'm like, "No, I'm going out there." Like, I have to go out there.
I get that. I'm a little bit better. Aaron will do the same thing. So Everest, he's 4 months, so going through a little bit of a sleep regression. Also, we're traveling, so it's been tricky. So I've not been getting quite as much sleep as I have through the night. Still great. We get 7, 8, 9 hours straight the first stretch, and then he does that midnight feeding around like 3 o'clock. So I've been a little bit more tired, and then we get up at 6 or 7. So when it hits that 7 o'clock point, Aaron gets up with the baby, brings him out here. We'll play out here, and then like an hour and a half, he'll let me sleep in like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then I get up. So, but there was a couple days in a row where Aaron wasn't feeling well, and he was really tired, and I was getting up and doing those, and we had to have a chat about it, like, hey, like I am the sole caregiver through the day. Like
Yeah.
Aaron will help a little bit, but I'm like 99.9% caregiver. I do the naps, I do the feeding, I exclusively breastfeed. And then if I'm doing the nights by myself too, then like I need where am I getting extra sleep? You know what I mean? So
Right. And I think that type of communication is important, that you like say those things in like
a loving way.
circling back to like keeping your identity within your relationship, having that communication instead of just resenting them.
Oh, for
You
sure.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I find I'm definitely guilty of it. Like instead of saying something, I'll just bury it deep down,
Yeah.
and then
And it builds and builds.
it builds and builds, and then eventually it's like you blow up.
Yeah.
And
So that kind of happened yesterday. So like, what was it? So he was really tired, and his back was hurting, and I was built up of tired, and then we had the switch over of the grandparents. So there was kind of a lot going on. Like we got up early to say goodbye to my dad because they were going driving, and we had to go to the airport and pick my mom. And we're happy to do these things. We're not complaining, but amongst that all, we have a 4-month-old, and we're dealing with him here and all that. So Aaron was tired, and I got up with Everest, and then we were kind of ships during the day, like ships in the night. Like he went to get my mom. I took Everest on a walk. Then this happened, and this happened. And we didn't really see each other. And then the very first thing he came up to me, I was getting some work done, and he's like, "Hey, you need to send me that tax information." I go, "Yeah. Hi. How are you? How's your day going? Like, can we talk like a husband and wife first?" You know. So
yeah,
I think we struggle with that sometimes because we also work together.
yeah.
So not only are we husband and wife and mom and dad, but then we also have that added layer of like we do business together. So then it's like, all right, maybe let's check in, maybe a little hug and kiss in the morning.
And that's a great tip, like to keep that connection and that identity,
Yeah.
is even if you're having like a crazy, chaotic, busy day, which is I know
Yeah.
what most of our days all are as parents, like a little like rub on the back or like a little kiss on the cheek, just to be like, hey, I know where it's crazy and it's chaotic, but we're a team and I'm here.
That's the biggest thing. We're a team. And he was so good. I just quickly said, listen, this tax information, whatever, but like we've been kind of short with each other all day. We haven't seen each other much all day. Maybe, hi, how are you? And he just like reached his hand out to me, got me standing up and gave me a big hug. And he was like, I did not mean to make you feel like I was being short. I love you.
Great.
How are you? And then later, a couple hours later, I sent him the tax information.
I eventually got there.
Yeah.
That's great to have that communication. That's something, pardon me, that's something that I'm working on, is communicating better. I find a lot of the time it'll just be like, you just assume the other person knows what you need, and that's not the case. And I've said that to my husband. I'm like, he's been snippy and said like to do something or asked me to do something, and I've been like, okay, well, or asked why I didn't do something, and I'll say, I can't read your mind. You need if you had voiced that to me, I would have been happy to do it. Yeah. And he usually recognizes, and he's like, you're right, you cannot read my mind.
Yeah.
And so just having that communication part, I think, really helps in keeping that bond, for sure.
Definitely. And there's going to be days that are hard and tricky and challenging, and everyone goes through that. And there's so many. So when we came up with this idea to talk about like our sense of self, I said like this is a very non-linear topic because we're going to be in and out of different phases as ourself, our partners, our kids. There's teething changes, sleep regressions, different changes, colds, flus, husband's busy with work, you're not feeling whatever, different things are going to go on. You're going to go through phases of, I can do this. This is a great week. This is easy. The next week, I'm a little bit tired. This is not great. You don't feel as much like yourself. And so every, phase and challenge comes with its own kind of issues, but
Absolutely. And yeah, that's I totally completely agree with that.
Yeah.
And your relationship is gonna, well, I know my relationship, it fluctuates too. So like sometimes it's like, you know what? We feel a little bit like roommates this week.
Yeah.
We're like you said, two ships in the night, crossing paths. We're roommates. We're surviving.
Yeah.
We're just surviving at this point.
Yeah.
But then there's other weeks where it's like,
it's great.
We feel kind of more connected again. Yeah. So it fluctuates. It just depends on what's going on, and that's okay. And I think we just kind of need to realize that it's okay.
What we try to say, and Aaron's really good at this too, is like above and beyond the love, which I am a fairy tale princess girl at heart. I'd like to believe that love conquers all, and I'm such a romantic in that way. But at the same time, I also know that and Aaron's very good at this, is like love is also a choice. Like to choose to love that person every day, no matter what's going on. Like, you're my priority. I love you. It could be, like you said, -22, the laneway's got to get plowed, the kids are sick, this is going on, but I choose to love you. I'm choosing to put your priorities first, and then acknowledging and trying to figure out what those priorities are is
Right.
a
I
constant
love
battle.
that. And another thing I always remind myself, like this is kind of the one that I live by, like that I try to when we're having a tough week between the two of us, because it's just been crazy chaotic. I try to tell myself it's not us against each other, it's us
Right,
against the problem.
right.
So we just remind myself we're a team and
Yeah.
we will take this on together, not fight against each other to
We
try and
win
get the same
together, we lose
solution.
together. Yeah.
Right,
We can only do
exactly.
it together, and we'll do
One
better.
thing that he's done to try and keep that connection alive, because it is hard to get out and go and do things when you have kids, especially if you don't want to leave them, is after bedtime we did like a little he did a little, I think it was either Mother's Day or Valentine's Day the one year, a little like restaurant for me. So he made this cute
Oh,
little menu and put like what we were having and made me dinner, and it was such a simple thing, but it really did like make me feel special and like
that's nice.
keep that connection, but we were
I
still
like the
inside of our
idea.
house. Yeah.
Yeah, so fun.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, we have our second wedding anniversary this week, a couple days away,
Oh my
and
gosh. I can't even believe that.
yeah, 2 years. So my mom and Steve, my stepdad, will be here in Florida with us. We mentioned to them like, hey, we maybe are feeling like after we put Everest down, we might like slip away to go get a drink or, an appetizer or whatever it is just nearby. And we did a little practice run the other day. I went for a walk, and Aaron had to remind me, like after we laid Everest down, he's like, you can leave your phone behind. Like, it's going to be okay. Your mom, your dad, whoever it is here watching the monitor. And I got a little bit anxious, but I was able to do it. So I'm hoping that I can let go of it enough for our like first time away, because I am exclusively breastfeeding. Like, I'm not pumping or anything. It's been harder to get away because we're
Yeah.
not on a strict schedule. But he's going down pretty consistently from 7:30 to 3. So I'm thinking I should be fine. Laying down at 7:30, wait around a little while, see if it's good. If it's good, then we take off and go get a drink. So wish us luck for our first
Yes,
kind of
I do. I wish you luck, and I think you're going to do great, and I think he's going to do great, and it will just give you confidence for next time.
do it again. Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's good. So then I guess we can pivot into friendships, because that
Yeah,
is
keeping
something.
that probably has been one of my other. You know what? It's all been a struggle for me.
Yeah, I
I've
think.
been lost into this black hole of parenthood, and I'm just clawing my way out.
Oh, no. It's a black hole of
Black
parenthood.
hole of parenthood. It's engulfed me.
I'll give you a ladder, girl. I'll help you out.
No, honestly, it's crazy because I actually like I say stuff like that, but being a parent is
Love it.
my favorite thing in the entire
Well, of
world,
course,
and
and
I literally wouldn't
that's
change
why
it
it goes
for
back to like what you were just saying about like you want to be with them, but you want to break. Like it
yes,
conflicts all the time. Like, I love you, my favorite thing in the world, but I don't want to be responsible for 5 minutes. It's nothing to do with being around your children.
no.
Like, we love our children, but
It's one of those typical things where you're like, people always say like you put your kids to bed and then you look at pictures of them on your phone.
yes, of
Like
course. Like,
it's just we're
no.
crazy.
Yes, and I think it feels like a black hole sometimes because it's forever changing. You get
Yes.
one chapter figured out, you're like, I got this, I know what I'm doing, and then it changes. The rules
But
change.
and then
Always.
like on the other hand, like I would do it all over again. Like I
Yeah,
would
yeah,
do all of it all over again.
of course. Yeah. No, it is the
Um,
most rewarding thing 4 months in.
I
Can say.
definitely yes. I definitely think that like we talked about the one day and having those low maintenance friendships,
Yes.
that is what I really
Require
really require at this point
and
in my life.
appreciate. Yeah.
I just had a friend come over the other day that I hadn't seen in I couldn't even tell you the last time I saw her.
Oh,
And she came over to visit and I was like and it was like no time had passed.
the
And
best.
she didn't hold it over my head that we hadn't seen each other in so long. And she doesn't have kids of her own. So, she doesn't even really empathize with that part of it. But she didn't care like that we hadn't seen each other. It was just she came over,
That's great.
she brought me coffee, she hung out with me, she
Oh,
hung out with my kids, and it was great. And I really, really I just appreciated her for doing that.
no, that's sweet.
And yeah, you and I are definitely those friends that although we
Yeah.
do talk more frequently now, face to face because of this podcast has, been a good opportunity for that. We'll, be texting and it'll last 45 days.
Yes. Yeah, no, I
But
totally get it. Like, I think I've had a good like point of view because I had a big chunk of like my closest friends all have kids in the same year, get married, have children within like a very close amount of time. I also had nieces and nephews like very young as well. So like I'm very used to, my friends and family having kids. And I thought I was like a great support to my friends and family.
yeah.
So I've had like, of the proximity to a lot of family and friends having kids while I was a little bit younger in my life. And so I've always thought like, I've always been really good with kids. I love kids. I've never wanted them myself. So I always thought like, okay, I'll be the greatest auntie or like friend to my friends' kids. And then I got pregnant and had my own baby. And I realized like how I wasn't really there for my friends in the way that I would like a friend to be there for me. And I know you and I have talked about this before and said like, you don't know until you know. And you don't realize just how much it changes your life when you become pregnant. That's like you think about being pregnant all the time. It consumes your life. You have a baby, it consumes your life again. And you can't really understand that until you're in those shoes.
And it's so true, but I don't think anyone ever, like in my experience, no one's ever held that over. I've never held that over anyone's head, or no one's held it over my head. Like you didn't know because you don't know until you're there. Just like anything.
Yeah. So I've had a cool experience recently in that one of my friends, so she just had a baby. And so now she has 4 under 4. And so she lives very far from me in Virginia. And so we actually get the chance. She just had her 4th baby, and I think he's 6-ish weeks now. And so I've always kind of been there to support and check in on her children. And now she did the same for me when I had Everest. And now it's flipped back around, and now I maybe know how to be a little bit more of a support to her with her 4th child. So it's kind of like the only friend who had kids before me and is still having kids kind of with me at the same time. So we are getting to go swing by. I talked about it last episode, but on our way home, we're going to go stop by and see her. And my husband, Aaron, and not to throw him under the bus because she'll be listening to this episode, hopefully. But he has said a couple times, like, is it worth it? Like, it's a really tough drive. It's, what is it, like 10 or something hours from here, 8 to 10 hours away. And that's tough with a little baby.
Yeah.
I think it's it's 13 hours away.
Yeah, that's quite the drive.
So I think we're doing a 7-hour stretch to Charleston and then a 6-hour stretch past that. But in this time, this last 2 weeks, we've come up with every combination of how we could possibly get to her house in Virginia. And we have the truck and a trailer and a massive Commodore dog and our 4-month-old in a truck, so 5 seats. So it's not going to be the most comfortable drive.
And so even if it's a 7 and 6 or whatever you split it, it's going to be more.
Yes, because
you're going to have to stop and feed and change and stretch and pee and
take the dog on a walk. And so right away that's tricky. And he said, is this, not to say is it worth it, but like this is a lot of work we're doing. Like we've looked into, do I fly? And then he meets up with me. Like, how do we do this? But then it's like, then I need a car seat. Now I'm bringing the car seat and the stroller through the airport. So, and I remember just responding like, listen, at this day and age, like at this time in my life, like relationships are work. Like to maintain the friendships I have, my friends live all over, North America. I hardly get to see a lot of my close friends. So to see them as work. And not to mention, she had her last baby 3 months before my wedding and still came to my bachelorette party and the wedding. So single-handedly. So if she can tow 3 little babies around North America to see me, I can do the same for her. So
it's true. Friendship is work. When you're a parent, you have to put in the work to maintain those friendships. And even if it's just like, the bare minimum of like texting and being like, hey, I'm thinking of you. I'm sorry I haven't been around or present, but I love you and I miss you.
Sometimes that's all I say,
sometimes all it takes, right?
Yeah.
just like a little like, you're very good at that though. You'll message me all the time telling me, I miss you,
Thank
I love
you.
you. It's great. And it means a lot, even if sometimes I'm unable to respond, or
Thanks.
I'm the worst for reading messages on my watch and then thinking to myself, I'll respond when I have a minute, and then never doing it.
Yeah.
But
No, I'm
it
glad for
means,
that.
but just know it means a lot.
I totally get it. We wouldn't be able to be in the spot we were in if we took those things personally. So,
Right, absolutely.
and if there is
Absolutely.
any advice I have for like new moms or anyone in our age group, is you just can't take things like that personally. Like there's no way. Like love is so much stronger when it comes out those like rules of high school.
Yes.
I guess like, hey,
Oh
I love
my
you.
goodness.
You'll be there for me, and I know you will be. Like that blind faith.
Yeah, growing and maturing in our friendship has been like so bonding for us, I think. Like,
Oh, boy.
we've been friends through so many different phases of life, and now we're so lucky to do motherhood together.
Yeah.
Like you said, you didn't always want kids, and then when you met Aaron, your views kind of changed,
Yeah.
and I was so excited about that because this is an amazing thing to be able to share with you
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, no, it's been super fun and great to have you and my other friends that have kids, but then we also have the friends that don't have kids. And
I know.
like
And I
you
honestly,
mentioned,
I always say like mom friends are my saving grace.
yeah,
Like I could not do this without them,
yeah,
because having them to be that support, or like when I mess up, having them to be
say it's
like, hey,
so,
I've done it too.
yeah,
It's going to
yeah,
be okay, has been incredible. But you're right. We still do need to prioritize those friendships
those
that
friends, so,
don't have kids, and that sometimes is a little bit harder, because
totally,
sometimes getting together with a friend who has a child as well is a little easier,
actually,
because they understand that your attention is going to be over here, over there, and up and down. And
yeah, or they can like help too. Like they've been through it, they kind of have a little bit more
yes,
confidence. A lot of my friends that don't have kids don't always want to hold the baby at all. Like
right.
they just don't want to, which is okay. So it just changes the dynamic of the hangout, but also like appreciating the friends that stick around and like, hey, I still love you.
Yeah.
I can't be the same friend I was, but I'm still love you. And like knowing that that doesn't go away just because my priorities have shifted right now. So
Yes,
that's
yes.
huge.
And that is like, I know that's something that's sometimes hard to say to somebody, to be like, especially that doesn't have a child, to be like, listen, things are going to be different,
Yeah.
but I do still love you, and I need you to know that.
And I think like
And
we
I
talked
actually,
about this with our partners, right? Like open communication is so important. And if you're able, it's so uncomfortable, but if you're able to do that with a friend, like think about the reward of it. Like listen, to be able
absolutely.
to be vulnerable and say, I love you. I know I have changed. Like I know my priorities have changed. I know that might not be easy for you, but I appreciate you. And just see where it goes.
Because thinking of it, it is you who's changed. It's not them. So to them, that might be,
They
trying
might
to
think you've
look at it in
abandoned.
their shoes. They're like, I'm the same person I always was.
Yeah.
And now you've completely changed who you
You
are.
don't come
So
around anymore.
just telling them that you recognize that is probably, it would be really beneficial to your relationship.
And at the same time like understanding like if that's not okay with them, then that's okay. And
Yes,
that goes with family too. Like it's been a little bit harder. Like you could only have so much time in a day and a year to see people, and I don't ever think we should cut anybody out by any means, but if someone's not okay with the changes that you've done in your life to be, in the good spot that you're in, then maybe it's not a friendship that you need to invest as much time into. And I know
right.
that's
And
really
and
hard to
friendships,
say,
unfortunately, friendships, come and go, and
and they
sometimes.
come in waves.
Right. So sometimes you're going to be really close with someone, and then maybe you take a little bit of time apart, and then maybe
Yep.
then you regain
Come back.
that bond. Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah. So it is a tricky thing to navigate, and it is kind of sad. Like I don't see some of my friends quite as often, obviously,
Mhm.
as I did before I had kids. And I get that question often, like, "Oh, are you sad about that?" It's like I'm not sad about it, but I've recognized it. Like I'm so happy in the position I'm in. Like I love where I'm at. I love that I get to spend so much time with my husband and my son and do these like every new week is another milestone with Everest. He's learning something new. And so it's not like I'm just like twiddling my thumbs like, oh, I love my son, don't want to see my friends. It's like, no, it's a constant learning curve all the time. And you wish you could share that with your friends and family, but their lives go on too. And that's the biggest thing, is not everyone's life stopped because you had a kid. So
Right. That's
yeah,
exactly it. That's exactly it. Yeah. I do also appreciate the friends that are willing to come over to me to see me, because a lot of the times, I'll put my kids to bed and
Yes.
then we can have that one-on-one friendship time. But I'm
Yeah.
more comfortable in the situation. I find when I go out, I'm like constantly kind of like, I gotta get home. I gotta get home. Like I'm
Yeah.
just feeling.
A
So when
little
they
more
come to
anxious.
me, yeah, when they come to me, it's very nice and I appreciate that. And I know that that's sometimes difficult. They have their own lives going on too. And just because you're not a parent doesn't mean you're not busy. Like
Yeah.
people's
Yeah.
other people's lives are just as chaotic as mine, minus the
Yeah.
children. But I appreciate when they're here, because then, if my kids need me, I'm right here. And
Yeah,
that's
for
just
sure.
much easier for me and anyone, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm not so much of a homebody, but I think I'm slowly morphing into one because it's just easier. Like when
Yeah.
Everest is rested, I'm sure you know this, life is just easier. And even like having the grandparents over, I don't know if parenting styles have changed over time, but I find I'm not like a very scheduled mom, but I am like a very aware mom in the sense that like every 2 hours he gets sleepy, I lay him down for a nap. I don't like go, oh, 10 o'clock he needs a nap, 1 o'clock he needs a nap. But typically around those times I start noticing he's tired, I lay him down. And both my parents, when they were down, were like, geez, you're pretty regimented, huh? And I go, to me, I don't what did you do? I don't know if they just forget that they laid their babies down for
I
naps
think it's a
or
combination. I think that people forget. Like, I feel like
yeah,
I'm slowly forgetting what I even did, and it was only
right.
4 years ago, right?
Yeah,
Um, but I think everyone just kind of has their own
their own thing.
thing. Like, I feel like when my kids were younger, I didn't follow a strict napping schedule either, because they were
No.
baby. When they were tired, they slept.
Yes,
Um,
that's how I feel.
yeah, and then now that they're a bit older, well, my oldest doesn't nap anymore, and Nora, when she naps, it's usually at the same time every day, but she only takes that one nap. That's the
Right,
only nap she
right.
takes all day.
Yeah. But
So
how much easier does your day go when she takes that nap? Like, does she not do better emotionally?
after
Or,
her nap,
yeah.
yeah, for the most part,
Like, if
we
she were
have
to
been
miss her nap,
somewhere.
would the
We have,
day be
pardon?
tougher? If she were to miss her nap, would the day be tougher?
So the daytime, no, but then as the day goes on, so she
Yeah,
did miss her nap at some point this weekend, because
it was
we were going
chaos.
to the game and it was chaos. It just wasn't, the timing wasn't working out, which is fine. She's at an age where missing a nap she can do now, because she's going to be
Yeah,
3 in April. So she's okay to miss a nap here or there, but come like evening time, like, dinner time, things start to boil up a little quicker. Like
yeah,
she starts to become a little more emotional,
yeah.
and
She just
I
can't
just,
deal with those emotions as
yeah,
well.
which I'm always aware of. And I'm like, she missed her nap today. Let's all be very kind and gentle with her, you know.
Yeah,
Um, but on the days that she gets her nap, yeah, she's honestly a very happy baby for the most
yeah.
part. Chaotic, but happy. uh,
Yeah.
but I have reached a problem where sometimes she'll nap into the time when I have to go get Emerson from school. So I
Oh,
have to
you have
wake
to
her
wake
up,
her up.
and that is just no bueno for her. It makes
She
her
gets
very
mad.
upset. Yeah, she does not like
Oh,
being woken up out of her nap.
oh.
So I try to do it as gently as possible. I kind of just like creak open the door, open the blind a little bit, turn off the sound machine, let her wake on her own
Like you
if I
change the
can.
environment to let her wake up. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but even then she's so stubborn. So she's just kind of like, I'll go in to get her and she's like hiding under the blanket.
Oh no,
Anyways,
that's it.
yeah. So even though it's only one nap, I still feel stuck to my house most of the time, which is again why it's easier for people to come to me,
Yeah,
because
no, I
I'm
totally get that.
stuck at home.
Yeah, we do through, well, the goal is 3 naps. It doesn't always go that way right now. So we do, I don't know, Everest gets up at 7:30, goes back down around 9:30, sleeps up hopefully until like 10:30-ish. He's up until what, 12:30, and that kind of continues
Yes.
through the day. And then we cut off naps at 5, and then goes to bed at 7. So with my mom in town now, I'm like, please go prioritize. If you're a tourist right now, like go enjoy your day. I'm stuck to a 2-hour schedule, and every now and then I'm fine to go out and do a contact nap on like the baby carry, or the other day he slept in his stroller, my new stroller that I love so much. And so he's been doing naps on the go a little bit better, which has been great, and I'm getting more confident doing that. But it's like I told her this morning or last night, whatever it was, like I might not do it the way you're doing it, but like this is what's working for us, and like this is what makes us most comfortable. And she's like, I get it.
Yeah.
So they went out today and they're enjoying the day, this rainy day, and
I
we're
think
really
that
getting stuck to the 2 hours.
Something someone told me when I was like in that like every 2 hour napping situation, and I was like, I can't do anything. I can't
Yeah.
do anything ever because my baby's always sleeping. Was they were told at least have one nap at home. The other
Yeah.
naps, if they're out and about, it's fine. But
Yeah.
just have that one good nap at home, and it
Yeah.
should be. So that's
Should
kind
be
of what
good.
I stuck to
Yeah.
try and do some sort of something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I get that.
Um, so I think that what we've got to here in all of this is, as just as with a partnership, with a friendship, that communication is just what's most important to
Totally.
kind of try and keep that bond.
Read your mind.
And your relationships are going to ebb and flow. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes. And um, hopefully, your friends stick around for your parenthood
Yeah.
ride.
Yeah.
And then I think moving on, we wanted to discuss a little bit about trying to keep your identity in terms of just your lifestyle and who you
Yeah.
are as a person, like outside of any of your relationships,
This is what's
and the
hitting
things
hard
that
right
you
now.
like to do.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
know that like health and fitness is something that has always been a big part of your life. You've even
Absolutely.
done like, competitions and stuff like that. So that's probably changed a lot for you. Are you having a hard time
Yeah.
maintaining any of that? I know you're kind of at the very beginning of it. So
Yeah.
you're only 4 months in.
But for some reason I feel a lot deeper than that. But um no, I think like a little bit of background, like I played college basketball on a scholarship in the States. Like I've always been athletic and played team sports for most of my life. And in my career, in my while I was getting my master's, broke breaking my ankles, then my shift changed from like team sports a little bit more individual, and I started running like adventure races and did a bikini competition, and every year I try to set a goal that really scares me. So this year is that half Ironman triathlon in Muskoka in July, so I'll be 11 months postpartum. I've never swam for competition before, so this is like a swim in a lake. It's like a 45-minute swim or whatever, and then it's like what is it, 20 to 30-ish kilometer run, maybe longer, and then another like 90-kilometer bike. So I'm so excited about it. Like I'm really, really committed to this goal. But we were even talking about the other day, like exclusive. My mom asked me, "You're exclusively breastfeeding, like not pumping. It's an 8.5, 9 hour race. Like, how is Everest going to deal?" And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't think about that. But he'll be 11 months,
Yeah,
so
by that point
cancel."
you'll have introduced some foods, like he'll be
Yeah,
eating like
yeah. So
regular foods by that point.
yeah, maybe it's not an ideal length of time to go without feeding, but maybe I'll need to look into it more. Maybe it is more of a problem than I realize, but I'm assuming if I feed them right before and
I
feed them
don't
after, it'll be
I
fine.
don't think it will be just based on, I mean, it totally could be if you're breastfeeding more frequently. When I got to that stage, I was not breastfeeding as frequently because my kids
Mm.
were eating regular meals with me by that point. They're
Yeah,
almost 1 years old. So they're
yeah,
eating food. I think by one, I think I was doing like a morning and a night feed, maybe
yeah,
one in the day at some point, but not even always. So
yeah,
I think you'll be okay. And I think you'll come up with your own solution, whatever it is that works for you.
yeah.
Whether that is, I mean, maybe you could be pumping bottles by then, right? Like,
Who
who
knows?
knows? Or maybe he just won't require any day feeds. Like, that could
Yeah,
also be very possible. Like I said, with my kids, by that point, I was doing like a morning and a night,
yeah,
sometimes one in the day somewhere, depending on if they were cranky or whatever.
right,
But
right. Yeah, so it just changes what things look like. And I said to my husband last night, like he can plan for this race, in 6 months away, and nothing outside of his time schedule limits that. For me, I'm like, I'm breastfeeding, I've got my baby, at some point I'm going to get my period back. Like
yeah,
that affects things. Some point I might get pregnant again. Like, will I be pregnant when I run this race? Who knows? You know what I mean? Like,
not ideal.
like maybe. And I
Yeah.
remember I was talking to someone about too, and I said like, oh, like your priorities and your goals change once you have a baby. And they said, no, 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 like your goals go away. And I was like so affected by that. I don't know why. Like that's really sat with me. I'm like, no, they don't. Like some
No, I don't.
people, this goes back to our what we started with. Like some people, yes, it's most important to you to shift your goals, put them aside, and raise your children. That's okay. But for me, that would not work. And it's so important to me that like I'm able to still accomplish and push myself towards these like fitness goals or whatever goal it is that year, I will be my best self for my husband. I'll be my best self for my baby. And also, I think that's the lifestyle we like to lead. And so we want Everest to grow up seeing his mommy active. And I don't find pregnancy and motherhood like a disease. Like a lot of people, like, you're pregnant, can't play volleyball. You're pregnant, can't play sport. Don't lift weights. Don't do this. It's like, everyone's different. Sure, if you already weren't lifting weights, maybe you don't start, or maybe you start very, very slowly. But
or maybe you have like, it depends on like if you have a difficult pregnancy or like, you know, everyone is different. But I think you're right in saying that your goals don't go away, but maybe they alter for a little bit. Like,
and it's not easy.
Like I would say like once I became a mother, my personal goals definitely altered. They were no longer, you know, career based or whatever they were before. They were about like raising a well-rounded child and, you know, and all of those types of things. And now I think as my kids are getting a little bit older and I'm for the first time not breastfeeding or pregnant for in a very long time, I'm kind of getting those personal goals back as far as like my career and stuff goes. And then now they're kind of standing hand in hand with the goals I have for my kids and my family, and then the goals I have personally. And I'm able to starting to be able to balance some of that a little bit. But I wouldn't say that your goals go away. I think that they just, like I said, they just alter, or, you know, some of them they're put on pause for a little bit.
Yeah. And so I think just sort of for a quick second, going back to like the friends and husband thing and like date nights, friendship, social nights, I hear a lot of people saying like, if you don't go do those nights, your kid will suffer. Like your kid needs to be away from you. I don't necessarily agree with that either. Like, do you know what I mean? Like people say you have to go away from your kid for them to excel. Yes, I see that, but I also see if you want to be that person that's home all the time, that's going to be okay. Like, I just have a problem with like social media culture of taking parenting issues or concerns and making it like that's the worst thing for your kid. Oh,
and I think that's just social media. It does it with everything. And being a parent, it really affects us. I actually personally, I had to delete Instagram because a lot of things were affecting me negatively. So I said, you know what, I need to take a break from that. But like I said, I think that's with anything like social. Pardon?
Maybe a hot take, but like TikTok being gone, I don't think is the worst thing. Is it back now? I don't know.
I never downloaded TikTok.
Yeah, so
I've never had it because I'm sorry, that's a bold-faced lie. I had it the day that it became around when it became popular. I downloaded it. I was on mat leave. I scrolled for like 2 hours and I was like, this is toxic. I deleted it that day and never downloaded it again.
Listen, I physically have it on my phone. I've had it on my phone for a year or two. My dog Brooklyn has become TikTok famous, and I post once every 6 months or whatever on there, and I don't scroll on it. I'm never on it. I just never took to it. It's never been my thing. But just like looping that all in back to the social media parenting thing, like having goals. Someone's going to judge you for it being the mom. Oh, you want to run this race? You should be with your kid, or you should be doing this or this. And it's like, no.
And again, I'm not against social media in any way. Obviously, I am right in the middle of social media. Like I like it. Yeah. And I like to do me some scrolling on some reels. I'm just saying, like, it's just what you soak in. You need to choose what is like benefiting you and what is causing you harm, right?
You know, I saw a feature I don't know if I dreamt this, but I saw a feature on Instagram where you can like reset your feed.
Oh no, I think I saw that too. Reset your algorithm.
Yeah, so that it's like if you get down in the loop of like parental guidance advice column, which is where I'm at, where everything is like one day, doing this is the worst thing for your kid. The next thing, doing that exact same thing as above is the best thing for your kid. And you're like, what is going on? And it's easy to get soaked up into that. But being able to reset that and go back to like, oh, cute dog video or, whatever. I don't know.
Yes.
And it's just giving you the chance to like refresh that because you get so deep into the well and they're like, we know she likes this. Keep giving it to her. And you're like, we need to get out.
No, what?
I have black well again.
Black hole. You know what? I have so many opinions raising kids in these social media days. I'm going to save them for another episode. But I really do I am very passionate about like this social media because it really, as a mom of like this next generation that's just going to be growing up with this just being the normal, it does, I have a lot of fear with it. And like, it just, I know it can be a great thing, but it can also be a very scary thing. So I do want to talk about that one day, but looping back to like your lifestyle and like trying to maintain that. Something I've been doing is working out in my basement, because initially I had this gym membership outside and I was not ever able, because that either meant, like, even when I was on mat leave, that meant I had to then leave my baby with somebody, leave my house, and go work out somewhere. And that just was like a mental block for me. I was like, that's not happening.
Hard enough to go see your friends and be social, let alone do something already hard, which is work out, and then make it harder by like now beg up your kid.
Bag them right up. Take them in your suitcase.
Just beg them up. I do not beg up Everest like little kids.
Just PSA. We do not put our children in luggage.
We do not advise the begging of children. Oh no. This must just stick. That's awful.
No, this is staying.
But no, I totally understand. Like, working out is hard enough as it is, and now you want me to pack up my kid. No, it's hard. So yes, working at home, huge.
But I find that does help me keep a sense of who I am, because I do that. That is like one of the things that I do that's for me. It's not for my kids. I mean, it is, like you said, I love to see them see me prioritize my health and wellness, because I want them to know that those are things that are important. But it is something that I do that makes me feel good and makes me feel better. So having the gym at home has been so helpful, because I'll go down in the morning. This morning, I did not want to get out of bed. My house was cold and my girls were sleeping in, and I was just like, I don't want to do it. And I had just recently listened to a podcast where they had this woman on, and I'm sorry, I cannot remember her name, but she was talking about, she uses the 5-second rule. So
I read this.
Yeah, so you count to 5, and then you just do the thing that you want to do, because if you give your mind time to hesitate, you won't do it. So I said to myself, I'm going to count to 5, and I'm going to pop myself out of this bed, and I'm going to go downstairs and work out. And it totally worked.
No, it totally works. When I first had Everest, there was this app, because I was looking into ways to not be scrolling on Instagram when I was feeding him. It was late night feeds. Like, how do I get off my phone? I found this app, still on your phone, but it summarizes a book into like a 15-minute read, so a full book. So that was the one I read on there. I don't know what that was. I didn't end up keeping it because you had to pay into it, so I just did the trial. But that was one of them, the 5-second rule. You count down to 5, and whatever it is you said you're going to do, you have to pop it.
You just get up and do it.
With time, I stopped doing that, but it is always in the back of my head. Like, if you're going to do it,
and I'm sure, and it won't be there always, but I won't use it always. But like
this morning,
I utilized it and it worked. So I got my workout in, and I feel better for it, right? So that's like helping me maintain kind of who I am as a person. And I think as you grow up, who you are as a person obviously changes in general, like what you do and the things that you're interested in, your hobbies. And then becoming a parent on top of that, it just completely alters. Like, you know, we used to go out and we'd get a drink and we'd stay out late. And sometimes I find myself being like, it is now actively snowing. I'm like, that would be really fun, like to go with my friends and like get a drink and kind of, dance and just have fun. And then like, I actually sit down and think about it, and I'm like, I don't know if I'd want to do that. I don't think I'd want to do that. Or like, I'll make these plans with people, and I'm like, wow, that's going to be so fun. Let's do that. And then it gets closer and closer, and I'm like, oh gosh, I don't actually want to do that.
Oh yeah, that's me. And I'm like such an extrovert too, and I slowly can feel myself becoming a little bit more introverted.
Yeah. I'm full introvert. I love being in my home, not leaving it.
Because don't they say I don't know if it's the true definition, but like you get rejuvenated or like refreshed by being alone versus you get refreshed or rejuvenated by being with people. I still think like at the core I'm an extrovert, but I'm starting to feel like I need that time alone.
Yeah, I know. And you do, because I think part of that is like being touched out, right? And like being like overstimulated constantly. So now you're kind of like, instead of craving that stimulation, you're kind of like craving not having it. Like you just.
I also find like having new baby, people lovingly are always checking in about like, how is the sleep going? What are you doing? What's your strategy? What are you doing for this? How are you doing for that? And it's very loving. And if you have a big support system, you will get more of those questions, which is great. But at the same time, you're just like, sometimes it's not that thought out for me. I don't know. Maybe I'm the worst, but I'm just like,
No.
I don't know. It's doing great. I'm not doing any of those strategies, and we're just doing what feels right for us. And then at the end of the day, you're just kind of like, oh, I just don't want to talk about that anymore. I just want to exist. Or, we don't watch TV anymore because we don't want the screens on or whatever. So there's none of that like downtime where you just go mind them, or, you're constantly stimulating, like you said,
Oh
the
yeah.
baby. Or so then
Oh
by the end
yeah.
of the day, you don't really want to do that stuff. You just want to be quiet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So back when I had Emerson, my husband would come home from work and me and Emerson would be sitting, I'd be sitting facing our window in a rocking chair in complete silence. And she'd be playing on her little playpen, whatever it was, little mat. And we wouldn't have music on. We wouldn't have TV on. And it would just be quiet. And he would come home and he'd be like, "This is a little eerie. What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I've been overstimulated.
Yeah.
And I just, in order for my mind to like
Reset
recoup,
itself.
I
Yeah.
need complete silence."
I totally get it.
And
And
I
like,
just sit there with nothing on. And sometimes I'll drive like that too, which people find very weird. I'll drive
that is
no
very
podcast,
weird.
no radio, nothing, and just silence. And I like
Yeah.
it.
3 kids, I would have music at every second of the day. My husband just opened up to me telling me that he actually hated that. I would always like, as soon as we're up, like, hey Google, play music, or hey whatever, get the party started. And I'd get in the shower, music podcast. I go on a run, music podcast, driving, music podcast.
You just started something on my, on my
Stop.
Google. I want to see what it's going to play.
Was it get the party started that got her going?
No, it's If We're Happy and You Know It.
I just started singing if you're happy and you know it with Everest, but the actions are all things that are just impossible. Like, if you're happy and you know it, be the cutest baby in the whole wide world. And it's like, how do I do
That sounds about right.
that? But recently, since having Everest, or like being further into having Everest, there's a little park here at the trail. It's the reason we picked this specific house. There's like a half-mile trail through like this pond. There's turtles everywhere. It's so cute. I love it. And we take Brooklyn and Everett on walks. And if I'm by myself, I have no podcast, I have no headphones in. I'm just like you said, that reset moment
Yeah.
of like, no one's talking to me. I'm not talking to anyone, just quiet.
Yeah, and sometimes you need that. Do you have it? Is that like one of the things you do? Like, do you have anything that you do right now, since you're kind of in the thick of like newborn phase, or I guess baby phase? Is there
Yeah.
something that you do to try and like maintain sense of self?
Yeah, I think I gotta be honest, I don't have it down yet. I think we're working on that really hard right now. And coming to Florida, that was a lot of the goal. But like I mentioned earlier, we kind of let that goal slip into becoming a bit of tourists here. So right now, actually stretching is the one big thing. Like, if I can't lift, if I can't run, if I can't do those things, at least I can do is get a stretch in. So we use this app called Pliability. It's like a CrossFit stretching app, and every day has a different stretching routine for you. And you log in, you pay an annual fee, you log in and you stretch. And so that's actually the one thing I like look forward to doing. It's quiet. It's the sped up one is 15 minutes, and I can do it with Everest on the mat with me, or I can do it when he's down.
Mhm.
Aaron and I like to do it together. So that I could say is like the one specific thing that I think helps me a lot. Outside of that, if I can get any sort of movement in, like a walk or lifting some weights or a jog, then that really makes me feel great. I would like to say journaling, that used to really help me, but like that, I just don't have the time. Like, I would
And maybe one day you'll get that back.
Yeah, maybe.
Hopefully one day you'll get that back, if that's something that is important to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you? What do you find?
I do think it's just, you know what helps me maintain my sanity and kind of feel like myself is I love to bake.
Oh,
So
yes,
just it makes me happy.
yeah.
Especially on like a cold winter day, I get a nice tea and I bake, and that just like, it just makes me feel happy. Today I made I don't know if this is like a swap, it could be a little mid-episode swap, but so recently I've been really stressed out about all the recalls that are happening with a lot of the food. And one of those recalls was Made Good granola bars.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so Made Good granola bars from I had ordered a variety pack, so I get like, I don't know, I think it's like 7 boxes of 5 granola bars each from Amazon.
What's wrong with them? Do you know?
There was metal found in some of them. So I know that like things like this, it happens when it's like things are mass produced, like maybe things aren't being checked like they should. I don't know. I don't know how this happens, but I know like it happens with mass production of food. It's going to happen sometimes. But it just stresses me out to my core to think my children may be eating metal. So I was like, that's it. I'm going to make my own granola bars.
Yes, yes, I recently did this too. That's awesome.
So that's my new thing. But I was having a hard time finding nut-free granola bars because peanut butter is used as a binding agent a lot for school. But this morning, that's what I did. I kind of I got up and after Emerson was sent off to school, I had found a recipe and made these granola bars for her. So hopefully she likes them. We haven't tried them yet. I tried them. I think they're very good.
So what's the binding agent?
There's no nuts in them. So you use coconut oil and maple syrup.
Maple syrup, yeah.
Yeah, and so it said to use brown rice syrup or something. I didn't have that. Maybe that would be a bit stickier. Yeah. I didn't have that. So I used the maple syrup because it said that was a good substitution. I'm sure they'll be a bit crumblier than they would if the peanut butter was in them, but the taste is great. So that's my thing that I'm doing now. And like I said, like I like baking. I enjoy it. Yeah. So
yeah, you're great at it.
I do it with my kids. I do it on my own. Yeah, I love making muffins. Like I'll make muffins in the morning before work, just like, and it just like kind of, it brings me joy. Yeah. And that's something that I do to make me happy.
People joy.
And typically that's the thing. My husband's not even big on sweets.
Yeah.
So typically what I make is like muffins and stuff, but a lot of time I'll bring it into work because I'm like, I don't bake so we can eat it all. I just bake because I like to
do it.
Yeah.
No, I was the same. I don't bake so much anymore, but but before I would bake it, not even touch it. I just like to bake and then put it out and everyone can enjoy.
Right. Yeah. I like to share my baking with others.
You'll have to share that recipe. Maybe you can put it out. We can put it on the bottom of the podcast.
Yeah, I'll find where I'll find who the website that I got it off of so we can share it with everybody. Yeah.
Well, should I go into my swap then?
Yeah, so we wanted to talk about your swap because you had a really good swap, and then we didn't end up releasing that episode because there was some malfunctions on our end. So tell us about your swap.
Yeah, so I actually brought it here with us to Florida. That's how much we love it. I don't know, can you see it? Eco Clean.
Eco Clean, yeah.
So it looks like a water bottle. It's a cleaning product. So what we do, we fill it up with water. So there's just water in here. And we press the little button. It starts, I actually don't know the science behind it, but it starts like spinning below and it pumps like bubbles up and turns this into like hydrochloric acid, I believe it's called, which is like an all natural way to clean. The alternative is also putting like 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt into the bottle before, like with the water, and that turns it into, I don't know the exact term, but an even stronger version. We used to do that when we first got this. We use it as like an all-purpose cleaner. We clean like our countertops, our bathrooms, whatever with it. And we found that kind of smelled like bleach a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's
with the salt in there?
With the salt.
Okay.
It was a bit much. So we pulled back. We don't ever put the salt in it anymore, but that's totally an option if you have like a deeper cleaning you need to do. We just do the water. And then it's got like an awesome spray nozzle on it. Look at me, little salesman. I'm not at all a rep for this. We just love it. So we use this for all of our household cleaning. So we don't really have any of like the all-purpose cleaners at our house too much anymore. We just use this.
So can you use that for like mirrors and stuff too, and like windows? Or
so you can. I find it's not the greatest on windows and mirrors. Like windows,
that's
better.
Really hard for an all-purpose for a natural cleaner. I've been having a hard time with replacing that Windex, which I don't have the Windex anymore, but still it can be a bit streakier.
It is totally streakier. So that's the one thing it's not great at. And I also find like still I haven't transitioned to using this in the bathroom too much. Like I do the countertops and stuff, but in toilets, showers, tubs, things like that, I still find it easier to use, like, I still use the natural cleaners, but
Like the
not,
Attitude or
yeah, like what do we do? Earth or Nature by Earth or something. I can't
okay,
remember.
yeah.
But something like that, and we use their laundry detergent, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And this is more like your everyday, like you're not terribly suffering.
Countertops
Yeah.
and yeah, nice.
And,
Okay.
and even still, like I find I spray the whole counter down, let it sit a minute, and then come back and wipe it down. And it works great for us. So, oh,
And you were and oh, hi Brooklyn. I can't believe you brought her. And then you were saying about last episode when you were talking about this, and I wanted you to mention this because you were talking about your air purifier.
Oh, was
And
I?
yeah, and the coloring on it would change with the other ones and not
Yeah,
this one.
that's so funny. Yeah, so did I mention that last time? That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have this like awesome air purifier right in the center of our house, and it lights up different colors based on how hard it's working or like the particles in the air. And so it's also got a count on it. So it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And and when it hits like 50, it goes from green to blue, and then it counts up in blue, and then it's working a little harder, and then it'll hit red or yellow or whatever. And yeah, when you use cleaners in the house, it goes right up to the red level. And it's so funny. We even like hair products. If I'm blow drying my hair and I've put like some product in my hair and my room is on the complete opposite side of the house, I come out and it's like ramped up, it's red. So if anyone has a spot for hair product, would love that. That actually works. Because we're still 80-20 or maybe 50-50 with stuff like that, because I'm like, I need the product that works. But this stuff is great. It's just water. So it does not set anything off.
And is there a filter in that or anything that you have to change?
That's a really good question. My husband bought it. I'm not sure if I'm sure there would be.
Right.
I haven't done it yet. Maybe we'll look into that. But and then I think it's between $100 and $200, maybe on the lower end of that. So super.
And then lastly, is it battery or chargeable?
Yeah, we charge it. So it has a little
port
in the back, and you just plug in. I think it's a USB-C, I believe, and it just plugs in to recharge. It's great. We also, on that we have, this is where it started, were these water bottles. They're the Echo Go water bottles.
Okay.
So it's the same company. And this one, obviously, is pink. My husband got for me. So this does the same thing. You fill it up with water in the top, seal it up. It also is rechargeable. And then you press this here, and then you can see it lights up. I've got to turn it off now because I don't have any water in there. Oh, shoot. But it does the same thing. It pumps hydrogen and turns your water into hydrogen water, which is really great for your gut. So
really? So that's for drinking water.
This is for drinking water. So I find it's a bit small, so it's not like a great replacement for like hydration through the day, because you need a bit more water than this. So you just keep refilling it often. It takes about it does a 5-minute or a 10-minute cycle. Obviously just ups.
But even just drinking one of those is probably beneficial for your day. Like if you drink one of those in the morning or whatever. Yeah,
I typically just drink one a day. I know my husband's a little bit more consistent with his. But they come in different colors. I have the pink, he has the black. And yeah, so it comes from the same brand, and they both do kind of the same idea. But yeah, we can include a link. Again, we're not reps at all for these companies. We don't get any.
These are just things that you actually use.
We actually use these, and worth a look if you have any interest.
Great. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. Yes, we'll have to share links.
There'll be links to these below. So check it out. Let us know if you like them or if you have other solutions.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it for today, unless you have anything else you wanted to mention.
No, all good. We'll get back together, in another week or two from now?
Yeah, another week or two. I think it'll be one more virtual, then I think we'll be back to in person after that. I know sometimes the virtual ones can be a little more difficult to listen to, but thanks for bearing with us and sticking it out. We love having you here, whoever you are listening.
Thanks for following along.
Yeah, following along with us. So, all right. Well, we'll see you next time.
Okay, miss you, girl. See you soon.
You too. Bye.